Thanks to Trade for sponsoring today's video. Hi guys, I'm wrapping up projects here in the nursery and I realized that I don't really have any storage for books or toys, so I jumped on Pinterest to find the most adorable bookshelves, only to find out that most of them cost over $1,000. So since we're all about DIY, I decided to build my own version for a fraction of the cost using this $65 cube shelf hack. Now, we don't know the gender of our baby yet, so I tried to keep this as gender neutral as possible. While I would have loved to add some scallop detail trim and some girly touches to make it more like a dollhouse, I held back and went for a more neutral book house instead. Check out the description below. That's where I linked all the tools and materials that I used for this project. Let's get into it. For the main structure of this project, I'm using this 6-cube system from Target for only $65. I'm very happy with how sturdy it feels. This is a great piece to build off of. For lumber, I'm using this 1x16 inch laminated pine as the roof. Next, I used a 2x4 that we ripped down for the base. I used this fluted trim to trim out the roof. This is 3¼ inch base trim. We had some scrap pieces laying around in the workshop. We also had some scrap beadboard from a previous project, so that's what I'll be using for the back panel of the bookshelf. The first step is to assemble the base frame. I wanted to add a base frame and some nice trim to the shelves to make it look more like a piece of furniture. For the base frame, I used a 2x4 and ripped it down to 2¼ inches. I cut the 2x4s down to create a box that is the same dimension as the bottom of the cube shelving. Once the pieces were cut to size, I secured the frame together with wood screws. The base is assembled, now I can attach the cube shelves to it. We set the shelves on top, I drilled holes in each of the corners and then secured some small cabinet screws down into the frame so it's nice and secure. The base frame is 2¼ inches, the bottom panel of the cube system is 1¼ inches, and my base trim is 3¼ inches. So that means that there will be a 1/4 inch reveal of the bottom panel, which is exactly what I was going for. I mitered the corners of the base trim and then secured it to the base frame with 1½ inch brad nails. I left the back open because it will be going against a wall, and I'm going to be securing a 1/4 inch panel of beadboard on the back. I left the base trim a 1/4 inch long to account for that beadboard to fit in. For the roof of the bookshelf, I'm using this 1x16 laminated pine board. It came in 76-inch length. We ripped it down to match the depth of the cube system, which was 14.5 inches. Once it was ripped down, we mitered one end of the peak and put it through the table saw at a 22.5-degree angle. You can play around with the angle and decide on whatever looks best, depending on if you want a more steep or less steep peak. We ended up doing a 2.5-inch overhang on each side of the roof as well. To secure the two panel pieces together, we used wood glue and brad nails. The roof is assembled, and now we can secure it to the top of the bookshelf. We made sure the roof was flush and the peak was centered, then secured it down into the top of the bookshelf, right where the roof and shelf meet. You can slightly see the nails from underneath, but once the face trim is on, you won't be able to see these nails. I had some scrap beadboard laying around, so I decided to use that for the backer board. We cut the panels down to size, dry fit them, and then we will wait to secure them until after painting. For the roof trim, I went with this fluted trim. You can also do some fun scalloped trim to make it more girly, but I wanted to try and keep it a bit more neutral since we don't know if baby's going to be a boy or a girl. I cut the peak of the trim at the same angle as the roof and secured it to the roof panel with brad nails. Next, I filled all the nail holes, then did a quick sand to sand down all the corners and edges of the roof. We don't want any sharp corners, especially since this is going in the baby's room. Let's take a quick coffee break thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Trade. Trade Coffee is a specialty coffee marketplace that matches customers with the best coffees from local roasters across the country. It's a convenient way to experience small batch specialty coffees and support small businesses. The coffee is roasted to order and ships to you within 48 hours. When I see this red bag show up in the mail, I get so excited. Nothing is better than a fresh bag of coffee. Since we're in the heat of summer here in Florida, I've been really enjoying my cold brews. Here we have some coffee roasted right here in Florida by the Roasted Record. My husband and I are huge fans. Trade has a new cold coffee subscription which offers a rotating variety of the best iced and cold brew coffees to make at home, curated by their team of coffee experts. It's a great option to cool off this summer and stay caffeinated all year long. From hot or iced, dark roasts to decafs or espressos to cold brews, Trade has it all. Give Trade a try this summer. They're offering 30% off your first order when you visit drinktrade.com/Stephanie and subscribe. You'll save on your coffee this summer and they guarantee you'll love your first coffee or they'll replace it for free. That's drinktrade.com/Stephanie for 30% off your first subscription order. Finally, we can prime and paint. I decided to get the paint sprayer out and paint this outside. Leaving the back panel off of the shelf made painting a lot easier. I did a coat of primer and a coat of Swiss Coffee by Benjamin Moore to match the same white paint color in our nursery. I was so close to painting it the bold gold color that we have in the nursery, but decided to play it safe with the white. After the paint dried, I was able to secure the beadboard to the back of the cube system using my brad nailer. And voila, we have a beautiful designer-inspired bookshelf for a fraction of the cost. This will hold tons of books and toys when baby gets older. It's a great DIY hack that will bring lots of joy in the years to come. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next video, which is the nursery reveal.